We spend so much of our time looking up, staring at the stars and wondering what's out there. But what if humanity's greatest secrets, our most profound mysteries, aren't up in the sky at all? What if they're buried deep underground?
No, I mean really thought about it. I'm not talking about pipes and subway lines. I'm talking about entire worlds, hidden from sight for millennia. See, ancient cultures didn't just build on the Earth, they tunneled into it, for reasons that go way beyond simple shelter.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to dive deep. We're journeying from Turkey to Mexico and all the way to China to explore 3 of the most astonishing underground enigmas ever discovered, and each one tells a completely unique story about our deep connection to the world beneath our feet.
Okay, our first stop is Derinkuyu in Turkey, a place that absolutely redefines what you think of as a city. This isn't a collection of buildings on a street, it's a multi-level metropolis carved straight down into volcanic rock.
And the story of how it was found is just incredible. Imagine you're doing a little home renovation, right? You take a sledgehammer to a wall in your basement, and the wall just crumbles away to reveal a passageway that leads deeper and deeper until it opens into a lost city that nobody knew existed.
So just how big was this lost city? Well, archaeologists estimate it could have housed, get this, 20,000 people. Let that number sink in. This wasn't a temporary hideout for a few families. This was a thriving town with livestock and supplies all living completely underground.
And they weren't just scratching the surface. Derinkuyu goes down at least 280 feet. That's 18 distinct levels that we know of. What's truly mind-boggling is that most experts think there are even deeper levels, still waiting to be discovered.
And this was no temporary bunker. This was a fully sustainable community. They engineered these brilliant ventilation shafts, some as deep as a skyscraper is tall, that still work today. They had wells for fresh water, stables for animals, and even chapels and wineries. You don't build a winery if you plan on hiding for a week. This was a place to live.
So, this brings us to the big debate. The common theory is that it was a massive defensive shelter, a place to hide from constant invasions. And that makes sense. But if it was just for temporary refuge, why build wineries and chapels? The evidence points to a permanent, fully functioning community, which just raises even more questions about who they were and what life was like, 280 feet down.
But while the people of Derinkuyu went underground for physical survival, our next location reveals a completely different motive. We're now in Mexico, at the great city of Teotihuacan, where the tunnels weren't a refuge from the world, they were a gateway to another.
Back in 2003, after some heavy rains caused a sinkhole to open up, an archaeologist named Sergio Gomez lowered himself inside. What he found was staggering: a tunnel leading directly under the temple of the feathered serpent that had been intentionally sealed shut for 2 millennia. Someone wanted to make sure nobody ever entered again. This was clearly no ordinary passageway. It was a sacred space. Inside, they found thousands of ritual offerings. The walls themselves were coated in powdered pyrite, a mineral designed to shimmer in torchlight like a galaxy of stars. It wasn't just a path, it was a man-made cosmos. But the most stunning discovery was found in chambers at the tunnel's end: pools of liquid mercury. Now, this stuff is rare, it's highly toxic, and it would have created this shimmering mirror-like surface. So why go to all that trouble? The theory is that it represented a mythical river or lake, a portal to the underworld.
So, this brings us to a powerful conclusion. The tunnel wasn't a place for people to live. It was a cosmic landscape, a sacred model of the universe. It was an arena where priests and rulers could descend into darkness, reenact creation myths, and try to communicate directly with their gods.
All right, for our final section, we're looking at 2 sites that just push the boundaries of what we thought ancient engineers were capable of, revealing motives that are even harder to comprehend.
First, let's take a quick look at Huantar in Peru. Here, archaeologists found a labyrinth of tunnels built not for shelter, but for a really bizarre purpose: to manipulate sound. These were acoustic chambers, designed to create disorienting echoes and amplify specific frequencies. It was architectural sound engineering, probably used to create mind-altering experiences during intense religious ceremonies. But if engineering sound is strange, our final mystery is simply incomprehensible. We're going to China, to the Longyu Caves. In 1992, a group of farmers decided to pump the water out of a local pond. As the water receded,
It revealed something impossible. Not the bottom of a pond, but the ceiling of a colossal man-made cavern.
And it wasn't just one. They eventually found over 24 of these massive, hand-carved rooms. The total amount of rock excavated is estimated to be 1 million cubic meters. I mean, that is an absolutely monumental engineering feat, even with modern technology. And they did this all by hand.
And here is the unanswerable question. Ancient Chinese cultures were obsessive record keepers. They wrote down everything. Yet for this project, a project that must have taken thousands of people decades to complete, there is not a single word. No text, no legend, no record of its existence. It's as if an entire civilization carved out a subterranean world and then simply vanished, taking the memory of it with them.
So from defense in Turkey to spirituality in Mexico and sheer, unexplained engineering in China, we see that our ancestors had profound and varied reasons for digging deep into the earth.
They went underground for safety, creating hidden cities to weather the storms of war. They went underground for worship, building cosmic models to connect with the divine. They even went underground to manipulate the human mind itself. And, in the case of Longyu, they went underground for reasons that remain a complete and total mystery.
Which leaves us with a final lingering thought. Derinkuyu was found by accident. The Teotihuacan tunnel was revealed by a rainstorm. The Longyu caves were hidden beneath a simple pond. These are just the subterranean worlds we've stumbled upon. It makes you wonder, what else is still down there, right beneath our feet, just waiting for the earth to shift?